The story begins with a man named Kevin outside the city of Bellwood who had gone to meet some people in a ruin to whom Kevin was supposed to sell some items. Those people claimed it was special alien technology, and as soon as Kevin picked up those tubes, there were many chips inside them that was deactivated at the time, but those men also didn't know much about that thing, which is why Kevin decided to call Gwen there for more information. Soon, a brother and sister named Gwen and Ben arrive. Ben had a watch called the Omnitrix which didn't show him time but had special powers inside it. It could transform Ben into a special kind of alien which had various kinds of powers. Well, soon Ben realized that as soon as he stood near those chips, there was some movement in the Omnitrix. On the other hand, the man selling this technology was getting quite annoyed because the deal was taking too long. He said he had never seen such strange buyers, upon which their helmeted companion told him that actually these people are part of the plumbers whose job is to save from aliens. But hearing this answer, Ben was quite surprised and wanted to know how that girl knew all this, to which the girl replied that her name is Elena Validus and she was also once a member of the plumbers. But then, along with her father Victor, she was also expelled. However, during all this, none of them had any idea that an unknown man was watching them. Meanwhile, Ben was quite surprised to see Elena there because his grandfather Max had told him that Elena and her father had left the plumbers because they were going to live far away. But Elena said that nothing like that had happened. Yet Ben was still trying to understand what Elena was doing with these illegal thugs, to which Elena told him that she was there just to meet him. She came because her father Victor has been missing for many days, and despite many efforts, there was no trace of him. But then that man standing at a distance started to control the chips. After that, the chips broke out of those tubes and began to attack everyone present there. To save his companions, Ben tried to use the Omnitrix, but it wasn't working due to the chips. Then, the responsibility of eliminating all those chips was given to Kevin and Gwen. Done. They sold those chips and couldn't understand anything. That's why they immediately started running from there. But by then, those chips had started breaking the entire building. The people could barely escape with great difficulty from there. Meanwhile, when Ben closely observed one chip, he realized that it surely was some kind of remote-controlled weapon that attacked like a dangerous insect. And that's when Ben noticed the man standing nearby. And somewhere, he was convinced that this man was controlling those chips. That's why he decided to stop this man. He wanted to transform into an alien called Spider Monkey with the help of the Omnitrix. But for some reason, the Omnitrix wasn't working, and due to a glitch, he transformed into an alien named Big Shield. However, with the help of this alien's cold winds, he gathered all the chips in one place, which shattered into thousands of pieces the very next second. Broke apart. After this, Ben decided to run towards that man. But as soon as he attacked the man somehow dodged and threw many bugs at Gwen, due to which Ben had to come down to save her, and taking advantage of this opportunity, that man got away from there. But along with that man, Elena was also missing from there, and now Kevin and Gwen believed that this was all Elena's doing. However, Ben still thought that she was not involved in all this, and now he had decided that he would find out the truth about what Elena and her father Victor. Why was he removed from the plumbers? And for this, he went directly to his grandpa Max. But at that time, Max was not at the communication center, and that's why the three of them decided to test some chips while waiting for Max. They discovered that these chips were not entirely technological. Along with the machine, there was also a living worm inside them. To learn more about this, Gwen decided to use her powers, but her magical powers were not working on it. After which Kevin decided to do this work with the help of a computer, but this work was going to take some time, and that's why Ben believed that they should use this time to find Elena. However, Gwen was not ready for this at all, and this led to an argument between the two of them. This argument continued until their grandfather Max arrived there. As soon as Max arrived, his eyes fell on those chips. Upon seeing them, Max said, "I have seen this thing before," but the old man couldn't remember where. Just then, Ben saw the right moment and asked him about the truth of Elena and Victor. But before Max could respond, a warning alarm started to sound, indicating that an unknown person had attempted to enter the center. The moment they heard the alarm, they immediately followed the signal and reached Max's room. Elena was already waiting for them there. As soon as Max saw Elena, he asked her to leave, but then Ben supported Elena and Max to the victim. About this disappearance. According to Ben, it must have been the same unknown man who kidnapped her, the one who attacked them. But everyone else was still against Elena, and that's why Kevin took her out of the room so that Max could talk to Ben and Gwen. Max showed them Victor's file on the computer and explained that in reality, Victor was removed from plumbers because he was caught red-handed stealing alien chips. However, according to Ben, even after seeing this file, Elena has nothing to do with it and the only way to reach the man. But Max did not believe Elena's words even 1%, and that's why Ben decided to proceed on his own terms, after which he took Max's bike and reached the man himself with Elena. He set out to find the man, and now they were rapidly heading towards the place where Elena found those chips. Meanwhile, Victor was walking alone on a deserted road at night when suddenly two men stopped him, and according to them, he shouldn't be roaming alone at night. But Victor said that he was not alone at all, and saying this, he released many insects on those men from under his coat. Meanwhile, Ben and Elena were moving forward quickly, but they were unaware that Victor was already waiting for them. And as soon as they both reached the place Elena mentioned, they started searching all around. Meanwhile, Victor was loading thousands of chips into a truck from a company named Ship It outside the building, and despite this commotion, both of them, they discovered nothing and were busy investigating Victor's lab, where they found many documents. They found several documents, including a delivery form for Ship It. Before they could understand anything, they encountered some strangers who wanted to help them. But then Ben noticed their eyes, which were quite strange, after which Elena told him that those people had chips in their blood. What's happening? And somehow they were under their control. Then one of the men said he wanted to introduce them to their queen. After that, they slowly started moving forward. Ben immediately wanted to use the Omnitrix, but because of the presence of the chips, it wasn't working again. As a result, they had to flee from there, but as they exited through the fire exit, they realized they were surrounded on all sides, and that's why Ben overpowered his Omnitrix and attacked those people, which pushed them all back, and taking advantage of this opportunity, they got on their bikes and escaped. As they left, Alina's bike slipped. After that, Ben had to go back to get her on his bike. As soon as they left, Ben told Alina that they would have to go to Ship It's office as soon as possible because the next clue to the puzzle might be found there. Meanwhile, at the center, Kevin and Gwen finally tracked down the energy signature of chips. They calculated that this type of energy was most abundant at the Ship It distribution center. They immediately decided to go there, and upon arriving, they found out that the center was completely empty. They still continued their investigation, looking for any clues, and in their inquiry, they found receipts of items shipped worldwide. But then, a person working there saw them, and he asked them to leave immediately. But they couldn't understand what a person was doing there so late at night, and upon asking, he replied that his job is to serve his queen, and time doesn't matter for that. No matter what the time, it doesn't make a difference. Hearing his answer, they both realized that he was also under the influence of those chips. Kevin turned his hand into a wooden hammer and threw that man out of the window with one punch, after which they both took all those slips and sat back in their car. But then both of them noticed that employee again, noticed him doing something strange with his hands, and as soon as they looked around, they immediately realized that the man was preparing the chips to attack them. The very next second, all those chips started attacking them. Kevin tried to get away, but those chips, taking the form of 3 very large balls, they quickly started chasing their car. To escape them, Kevin quickly swerved his car to crash into one of the balls, destroying it. But the very next second, the ball reformed, and now Kevin had no other option but to outrun them. So he activated his car's turbo mode. But at the same time, these didn't help either, and the balls were still chasing them. So Kevin led them to an open field where he also tried to crush those balls with his car. But in this attempt, his car itself overturned. When they got out of their car, those chips were still on them and had now joined together to form a very large ball. Now Kevin made himself out of iron to face them. But then suddenly Ben arrived, transformed as an alien named Humongosaur, after which Ben destroyed that ball with a single punch. But then those chips started attacking with lasers, changing their forms. But due to Humongosaur's thick skin, Ben wasn't particularly affected. However, despite Ben's repeated attacks, those chips kept changing shape and coming back to fight. So taking advantage of the opportunity, Ben attacked them with Kevin's car, which destroyed all those chips in one go. This, after eliminating the problem, Ben returned to his normal form, after which they all decided to analyze a new sample in the lab. After that, they took Elena directly to their grandpa Max. He was watching the news about those high-tech bugs spreading worldwide. After listening to the whole story, Max decided to examine the new samples, where he found out that these chips actually came from space. After finishing his investigation, Max put all the chips back in the box, but unknowingly one chip was left outside. After this, all of them started looking for a way to get out of this problem. Thus when Ben thought of their queen, after which he said that they just need to eliminate the queen of these chips. The others won't function without the queen's command. But during all this, no one noticed the chip wandering there. Also, finding the queen was not an easy task, so all of them started gathering more information on computers. But then, taking the opportunity, the free chip quietly climbed onto Max's hand. A little later, when Ben went to ask his grandpa Max some questions, Max even tried to attack him. Seeing this, Ben immediately understood that Max was now under the control of those chips' queen, and when the others heard Ben shouting, Kevin immediately went from behind and knocked Max unconscious. But then they started talking among themselves, taking advantage of which Max turned on the smoke machine, started it, creating such an environment with smoke that it became very difficult to see anything, and in such conditions, Max managed to escape from there. Now, after Max left, none of them could understand how they could move forward. But keeping himself calm, Ben told everyone to focus on the mission. After that, they all started using the computer to locate the queen, and upon examining the energy emitted from the chips, they discovered that many chips were located in one place, and they calculated that perhaps the queen might be here. Gwen told them that the distribution center of Ship It Company was also at that place. And hearing this, Ben was now convinced that Rani was hiding there. But to reach that place, they needed a vehicle, and Kevin's car was already destroyed. That's why Kevin decided to give Ben his birthday gift a few days early. After that, he gifted Ben a special car, which he had been building for several months. All of them got into that car and headed straight for their destination. And upon reaching the Ship It Center, they noticed hundreds of people working there. At that time, after confirming their suspicion and moving forward, they saw Max working alongside the others. However, they couldn't save their grandfather at that moment, so they decided to move on. After advancing for a while, they reached a very large room filled with many people, and those, Victor was also present among all the people. The moment Kevin saw him, he understood that it was Victor who had attacked them in the ruins that day, and now they all began to suspect Elena as well, wondering if she was in collusion with her father. But Elena said that she didn't know anything about it, and that his grandfather was also working for the queen. Was he also in league with her father? And there was some truth in her words, because Victor was behaving just like Max. However, Kevin still did not fully trust Elena. Well, Ben intervened to calm everyone down, and then he went to see Victor, where he realized that Victor was actually laying eggs, which meant that the queen was inside him. As soon as Kevin got this information, he started saying that they should blow up Victor too. But Elena tried, and according to him, it was very dangerous, because if the queen somehow controlled Ben, saving the earth would become impossible. They were discussing this when suddenly a man grabbed
grabbed Elena, making everyone present aware of their presence. Seeing the danger approaching, Ben finally decided to use the Omnitrix. However, because of those chips, the Omnitrix was still not working properly, and instead of transforming into the huge alien X, he turned into another alien named Nanomech, which was actually a fusion of a human and a nanochip. After this, Ben shrank himself and moved directly toward Victor, quietly entering his body through Victor's nose. As soon as he arrived, he started hearing the Queen's voice. Meanwhile, the others were fighting with the remaining men, and Ben alone was inside Victor's body fighting that Queen. The Queen was trying every possible way to control him. In fact, the Queen's plan was to destroy all the humans in the world at once. For this, she activated all her chips, but then Ben launched one last attack on her with full strength, completely destroying the Queen's body. Everyone present began to regain consciousness, and all the remaining chips were destroyed on their own. Ben also emerged from Victor's body, after which his grandfather Max congratulated him and apologized to his old friend Victor, because he did not trust Victor when it was needed. After this, Max talked about making Ben the new chief of the plumbers, but Ben immediately refused, saying, "Grandpa, you are not so old yet. It's a little early for you to retire. Keep helping us like this for the next few years, okay?" If you liked the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.